I want to talk to you about review scores, the current state of the gaming industry and the critics and what people think of review scores. I saw today a tweet through my timeline that had this website, this article with this website named exclusivelygames.com, and I'm going to pull it up here. It's called Reviews, Reviews Need to Change. And on this article, you'll find this little graphic here that says modern review scale. You can see there's anything below 7.8 is pretty much a crap box. That's the modern. That's what everybody pretty much thinks now. And then you have the 1980s, 90s, early 2000s review scale, and it was a lot more balanced. And I do find this to be true. I don't find it that it needs to change. I don't think this is the problem. The modern review scale is not the problem. No game that comes out now should be... First, let's get this out of the way. No game that comes out now should be a 4 out of 10, 5 out of 10. No game that comes out now. 4 is when you're like, I kind of hated some stuff about it. And then 3 is like, I really hated some stuff about it. And then 2 is like, this game might be one of the worst games I've ever had. And then 1 is, this is the worst game I've ever played. That's what the review scale should actually... But even then, let's throw that out the window. That's just my opinion. Let's just call it that. That's how I believe. Even then, the problem with this is not the scales, okay? The problem with the modern review scale is that it has to be true. It has to be true. There's too much content out there for everybody to play. There's just too much. Every single day, there's new games coming out. And then you have the games from the 80s, the 90s, the early 2000s, these aren't movies. It's not like movies where you could just go like, oh, I'll watch that. Oh, people say that's really good from the 90s. I'll watch it. You're done 2 hours. Okay, that was really good. Yeah, it was great. No, this is, hey, you ever played Chrono Trigger? Yeah, I'll play it. Oh, I got to set aside like 30 hours. Yeah, I'll play Mario 64. Oh, I got to put like 10 to 12 hours aside for that. You see what I'm getting at? And on top of that, there's just new content. Your game better be good as far as the review scale. If you want your game, you care that much about your game being scaled right, you better make it really good. Otherwise, you're gonna have to settle for us nerds, us people that play everything, to buy your game. You just have to make your game good, and it's easier than ever. And when I say that, and I want to get it taken out of context, it's easier than ever because you've had 30, 40 years you see what's good, you see what works, you see what not to do. Your game should never have game-breaking bugs in it. It should never have like Mass Effect Andromeda stuff. Never. You have all the money in the world. As far as EA goes, you had all the money in the world and you had the time to do it and you had the development to do it. That should never happen. But even with a smaller game, if you have bugs like that, and if you have things that just don't make sense in your game that'll lower your score, you kind of had it coming because you knew that there's a certain level of quality that people expect nowadays, because people, like I said, they don't have time to play every game out there. They just don't. People don't. If it's less than an 8, there's a lot of other games I can play. That is coming from the average consumer. Okay, I'm talking like the average consumer, which is the people that buy the most games. Let's be honest here. The average consumer is what these giant companies, what they target when they're trying to release these huge AAA titles. They're targeting these average consumer. So they're not going to waste their time with mediocrity when they have so much content out there that they could play now that still keeps coming, and the content that's been around for 4 decades. So that right there, pretty much, I mean, I know it undermines this whole article, but that's my opinion. reviews need to change. No, games need to change to meet up with the demands of what people want. That's if that's the case. You know what I mean? Personally, I don't care. I play a bad game, the bad scored game. I don't care. I'll pay for it and I'll play it. But for the average consumer, that's not going to work. I want to know what you think about this article, and I want to know what you think about the current state of reviews and what the general masses think of them. Do you think that I'm right? Do you think that it's just too much content? Do you think that people are just expecting too much out of games nowadays? And do you think that reviews need to change? Or do you think that developers need to change? Or do you think that the people need to change? That's not happening. Let me know below and we can start a conversation. My name is Andrew. This is Think Game Talk. Later.